Hi, I'm SarahAngelDevil, 13, and I was born in Gallup, New Mexico. I was lived here all my life, I guess. I am Native American and Hispanic American. I have some Irish in my ancestry. Other than that, I'm 27 years old, and this year I'll be 28 if I ever survive. Just kidding.
What age did you decide to come out and transition?
I was most certain of my transgenderalized self as far as I can remember. I always felt like I was a girl, but I felt like I was in a wrong body. So that's why I live my life as a female appearance in appearance. And well, I probably say since the age of 6, because that's when I really wanted to grow out my hair long. And I was fascinated at the point of being transgender when I would see my mom putting on makeup, and she would help me put makeup on sometimes. My whole family knew I was going to be a girl when I grew up because they say I was very feminine, and I had some feminine nicknames when I was younger, such as Skirt and Tinkerbell. Yeah, I started transitioning at the age of 16 because that's when I started entering high school and really self expressing and I don't know, promoting my sense of style. So I started growing my hair, wearing makeup, cross dressing, wearing bras, panties, and presenting myself as a female.
You reside in Albuquerque, New Mexico?
I am homeless and living on the streets. I stay with friends from time to time or relatives, family and friends alike. I stay on the streets and live from friend to friend, couch to couch, homeless on the streets, whatever.
How do you support yourself?
I like to put it in a certain way when people ask me how I get money to support my bad habits. I like to call it a really good friend. In other terms, some people would call it a client or sugar daddy. I like to ask if they could help me out, being that I'm a friend. Or if they really like me, then yeah, I'll charge them for whatever they desire from me.
Can you give me further input on what your addiction is? Is it drugs? Is it alcohol? And if it's all the above, would you mind explaining it more in detail?
It has a lot to do with the nature of my childhood and my surroundings, what had happened, and all the drama that happened throughout my life. It ultimately led up to me thinking that nobody loved me and I was alone in the world, and I was on this downward spiral at a very early age in life. And this was my teenhood, my teen years. And I started drinking, making friends, drinking with them, and basically codepending on people to make me feel loved, and all the substances that were there to help me. I don't know, it's numbing to me, and in a way it does make me feel a lot better, but ultimately I think my greatest enemy is myself. I prefer to do it all, but not all so crazy where I'm a total addicted, fiending person. Yes, I do alcohol. I'm highly addicted to alcohol more than any other substance. I've tried heroin, meth, cocaine, crack cocaine, and many pharmaceutical drugs.
Also, are you wearing protection with any of these people that you are having sexual intercourse with?
It's ultimately up to my tuition whether I'm gonna trust one of my friends to have unprotected sex with or protected sex with. I would say more than half of the time, yes, I will ask if they would like to wear a condom. But when it comes to the dirty deed, I probably use condoms like only 10% out of the time.
Have you ever had an encounter to where you have been raped or beaten up because of your transgender identity?
I've been on dates where I have been raped or blacked out and got raped. I've never really been beaten for sex, but it's mostly just hate crimes on the streets that I fall into, fighting with people. I would get stereotyped into homosexuality on a daily basis. It's one of my fears to be out in public just because of that fact. So if I'm in public, I really just try to keep my head down and not look up, because I'm afraid if someone clocks my beauty, then then I'll get gay bashed or something. Or I don't know, tranny slashed. Ew. So yeah, I it worries me to be in public with that kind of hate crime. I just really try to avoid it altogether.
Do you feel like those are connected to your substance use or things like that?
Actually, to tell you the truth and be honest, I really depend on substances, especially when I'm out in public, just because it makes me feel like as much as I'm careless, and whoever's treating me careless will match my carelessness. And I like to think that I'm more mellow and down to earth when I'm high or when I'm drunk. It makes me feel like I'm wearing a bulletproof vest where no one can hurt me or get the best of me. So
When you are using these narcotics, are you using clean syringes?
yes, I would use clean ones, but when I was down and hurting or something, like really fiending, I would definitely use a close to me type of person's, like a friend, like a best friend.
How often would you say that you black out?
Sometimes I don't know my limit, especially when I have influences around me. So I would say I black out probably like 1 out of 7 times out of the week.
Tell me about the most stressful things in your life, maybe 5 most stressful things.
The biggest one in my life is not having a place to stay, because that just goes to lead to not being quite established as I could be. I would say the biggest stress I have is being homeless, and the second is not really having someone who can walk me through this life and teach me how to, do positive things for myself, like life skills. I don't really know how to make a living for myself except doing what I've been doing ever since I was a teenager, and that's just hanging out and drinking.
Do you think either of those things or other stressful stuff in your life makes you less likely to practice safe sex?
Yes, I think if I'm under the influences of substances, it does give me a higher risk of not being protective as I should be. A lot of factors fall into that category, because if I'm drunk and I'm inebriated and it's going to be the heat of the moment type of thing, I'm going to want to get in and get out. I'm not going to try to take my time and let this person waste my time. So if it just really depends on the person with me. If it's someone that I want to look out for, then yes, I will definitely do everything in my care to protect them as well as be protected. But if not, if it's just a quick fling and the John or the date doesn't mind, or my trick doesn't mind not wearing a condom, then it's really up to them, and I will tell them that I do test. On a daily scale, I would have to say probably about two clients, 2 generous guys a day with not using protection. And again, this is mostly on their preference of what they want. So yeah, I guess you could say I'm a very positive individual myself. I try to be positive for my friends, the people that I surround myself with on a daily basis. I try to be as positive for them as I can, as well as smile to them and talk to them, conversate with them, and just really be good company altogether.
How do you think it affects your body with all of the addiction and the stress on top of it?
I know with all the substances that I'm using and abusing, I know the outcome of what it's doing to my body, but and altogether, it's just like I'm undermining it, and I guess you could say I care less about what it does to my body, and I don't know why I have such a carelessness for myself, but it's easier to fail than it is to overcome. And I think that's just the fine line of where I'm stuck. I can't really say I love myself, because if I did, I wouldn't be treating myself like this.
Do you think that if you were ever to decide to change your life around, do you ever feel like you would be able to face society with a sober attitude?
Yes, that's one of my biggest daydreams. It's one of my biggest fantasies that I do. I like to think in the certain future that I will one day be sober and just altogether be a positive influence and be a productive member of society, just like all good people do if they're good. And yeah, I wouldn't mind fitting into that category one day. I think the whole interview was very insightful for all of us, and I would like to just have a positive influence with this, but I do most certainly hope to one day change my light bulb.